like a rest stop.
Hello.
It's the only stall that's open.
We were mid conversation. Sarha Kim. We have started the show tonight on this super important show. I'll pay for that pizza in hell. Is our first story. Another thing we have coming up is the best way to measure wine, and we'll ask who you want narrating your life. I am one of your hosts, Destiny Adato. We've started a show. We did it. We did it. With me, as always, is my co-host, Heather Jules Booth. How are you doing, Heather Jules Booth?
I'm good. I'm here, ready for some help.
Cool.
When the show started, we were talking about was cars.
Yes, and that voice you heard at the beginning was one of our favorite guests returning, Sarha Kim. Hello, Sarha Kim.
Hi. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Sarha, for folks who don't know about you, who is Sarha Kim? Tell people a little bit about who Sarha Kim is.
Oh, boy. Where do I begin? I wasn't prepared for this question. How much time do we have for this?
An hour.
So it all started on it. No, I am a comedian and actor in New York City. I just, like to have fun, live in Brooklyn, and have an adorable cat who is accused of being a panther by a lot of people when they meet him because he's gigantic.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what's a cool factoid for me. It's a good one. I once got a popcorn kernel super glued to my eardrum. Yeah, I don't know. It was like a weird thing that I did as a kid, is just like putting things in my nostrils and my ear canal.
And then gluing them there?
No, God, this is a longer factoid than I wanted to initially give. But anyway, I took a popcorn kernel. My brothers and I had finished a bowl of popcorn, and the remaining unpopped kernels were in the bottom of the bowl. And I was like, where this should go is my ear. So I kept on sticking a kernel in my ear and pulling it back out just to see if I could do it. And apparently this is childhood OCD behavior or something like that. But I eventually pushed it too far and couldn't get it out. And my brothers tried to put a vacuum to my ear. They put water down, but just created a seal. My mom tried pulling it out with a earwax picking tool that she has. But it just kept getting pushed further and further. And then eventually my dad pulled off most of the cotton of a Q-tip and then put super glue on it. But you're supposed to wait 30 seconds. So it's the perfect immediate level of tacky, but he didn't wait. And so he tapped the kernel when it was on the last precipice of my ear canal, and I just heard this dunk right against my ear, and it got super glued to my eardrum. So
That's awful.
Yeah.
All right.
I had to be a wonder to get it removed. So that's me, you guys.
It's a hell of a fact. Heather, you want to get us kicked off with World You Crazy?
Yeah, for sure. Our World You Crazy is the illustrious title, Hell Pizza launches new buy now, pay when you're dead payment scheme. And the idea behind this is, I think this started, because this is an Australian-based story, and I think that most of this stuff started in Australia, which are things like Afterpay, which is you pay for something, you make a purchase and then it splits it into basically bi-weekly type payments, and then it's caught on everywhere. And now a lot of other companies offer the same thing where it's buy now, pay only a little bit now, keep paying. Mm-hmm. I give you that background because this pizza company has come up with something called Afterlife Pay. Mm-hmm. And they say that they think, in their opinion, this is turning up the heat on buy now, pay later schemes, which unfortunately have been trapping a growing number of Australians in spirals of debt, particularly amidst a cost of living crisis. This service will be available to a select number of people. Spoiler alert, when you read later in the article, it's 666, of course. Mm-hmm. Those who are selected will be invited to sign a real amendment to their wills. So this is a real binding thing, which will allow the cost of the pizza to be collected upon their death. No interests or fees will apply. They just have a legally binding agreement in their will. There's an actual picture of the codicil to the will. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that word, but it's how I'm going to pronounce it. And it's a declaration that basically is like, I hereby declare to repay Hell Pizza the sum of whatever the cost was. This is wacky. And it says, so the reason that they started doing this is because legitimate buy now, pay later companies approached them and asked to offer, like, hey, do you want to use this for delivering our pizza? And they were like, we think that using buy now, pay later things to buy essential items like food is a step too far. And it's starting to trap people in debt that they like feel like they can afford at the time, and then they can't. And then they wind up having all these fees and, late fees and penalties, which winds up being like a lot, like any service where if you don't pay on time, you wind up paying a penalty.
Yeah.
It says that people falling behind in payments in Australia are 10.5% of loans. Wow. So quite a bit. That says anyone 18 years or older can apply. 666 people will be selected. And 666 people in Australia. I don't understand that sentence. That's a bad sentence. Okay. 666 people. Unless they're trying to say 666 people outside of Australia and in Australia. Anyway, I'm not going to question this article.
Too late.
Yeah, too late. I've questioned it. But they're saying have your pizza without pesky late fees or penalties. And
without pesky late fees. Like,
right, you're dead, so.
When do you have late fees for pizza? Have you ever had a late fee for a pizza?
No, because I wouldn't use a buy now, pay later for pizza.
Yeah.
But that is their comment, that they're like, if people are having to use it for that, then it's maybe we should be looking at like the bigger issue of cost of living and things like that.
Yeah.
I was surprised to know that this was a thing happening outside of America. I'm very ignorant about how the rest of the world handles its money. I don't really pay attention. So it just sounded very American to me. And I was like, oh, this sounds like an American debt thing.
Right.
But so reading that was interesting to learn that this is a problem in other places as well. And I think this is hilarious. And I would be curious to know if they really get 666 people to do this.
I mean, why not? It's all upside.
It's all, you get a pizza.
Yeah.
It is free pizza.
Yeah.
But God, what record keeping has to go into this too? Yeah. Like, this is a database.
Yeah.
Like, this is now, well, you're attaching it to your own will, I guess. You're making it an amendment to your own will.
I assume they're planning on just losing 666 pizzas.
Probably, yeah. Honestly, that's what they should do.
Yeah, because you said the point of this was to kind of like highlight how life is not affordable. So
that's what they're hoping it sheds a light on, which makes sense.
Because otherwise, there's some like poor accountant at Hell Pizza that's got to sit there like, and every few weeks gets like, oh, another of our customers died. Like, like every time you get that check for the pizza, it's like a super bummer.
Yeah, how do they even know?
I don't think you get I like to imagine it's like a little email that comes in that it's like, customer 357 died. Yeah, I don't really know the logistics of it.
Here's $19.
Here's $19. You got paid $19. Reason, death of customer.
Yeah. Sarah, it seemed like you were about to say something.
No, I'm just how would it depending on like the person who wins or whatever, like, because like when people ask, like the arrangements aren't always like clean and organized and that kind of thing. So would this actual payment come through? And like, what if it's like a person who ordered like thousands of dollars worth of pizza over their lifetime or whatever? And
I wondered about that too. Yeah. I was like, what are the logistics? Are they limited to only one pizza or like a dollar amount? Because I thought that too. I was like, what if somebody's just like, fuck you guys, I'm going to order a pizza every week or something.
Yeah.
I think it's just probably one pizza. I think it's just like one.
Right.
Taking one shot at it. But who knows? I mean, we're suckers on this show for like dumb promotions like this. Like we pretty much put on every time we see a dumb promotion like this, we put it on because yay.
Why not?
Well, yeah, like I love the fact that they basically are just saying like, hey, here's, you'll pay for it when you're dead, which means we're not going to pay it. Like, I don't think there's an accountant sitting there going like, I'm just gonna email everybody once a year to see if they're dead, and whoever I don't get an email back from,
I hope
I'm
the
gonna
subject
check.
line is like, "You alive?
Yeah.
You still there? You up?
Hey,
Huh?
hey, you dead? Yeah, you dead?
All right. Could,
Boy.
yeah. It assumes like it also assumes like Hell Pizza is gonna be around in however many
It
years.
also
Yeah.
assumes that. Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
the boldness is impressive, because I'm just like, how many pizza chains are there out there, and like what's like the oldest one that's existed? Like,
All right. So Hell Pizza was founded in 1996. Wow.
really?
Why is it called Hell Pizza? Because it offers pizzas named after the 7 deadly sins. And
Yeah,
they
it does.
offer discounted pizzas on Friday the 13th. I'm
Good
quickly
for them.
becoming a fan of this company.
Yeah. I'm
a good
definitely
idea.
going there when I go to Australia. And
Yeah.
get
I mean,
pizza.
there are some in Australia, but it is originally based out of New Zealand.
I mean, same diff. I mean, they wouldn't
I also
like that,
realized
but, like,
that the article used the phrase Kiwis a bunch, which I should have known better. It means New Zealanders, not Australians. And that's on me. And now I'm on a wanted list in Australia somewhere and New Zealand for
Or in
mixing
New
them up.
Zealand. I don't know.
Yeah, both, probably.
yeah,
Well, if you
we're
had said
huge
that,
there.
it would have been cooler. I don't know. Or now I'm on that wanted list.
Yeah, that's it. You're on it. You're on it.
Do we want to move on to story number 2?
I think so.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sure.
Which I would argue this is our wholesome story of the show, but go get him, Sarah.
Story. So yeah, this is vaguely a balance of cute and wholesome and a little sad. So our headline here is Good Samaritan stops bank robbery with a hug. I know. So basically a regional bank in, where is it? Bank of the West? I guess this is in California. But he was in the Bank of the West depositing a check, and then I guess the perpetrator walked in, passed a note to the teller at the next station, claiming he had explosives and was demanding money. And the man who went in, Michael Armis, recognized the suspect as a former neighbor and a friend of his daughter, and like immediately knew to step in. And he just walked up to him and asked, "What's wrong? You don't have a job?" And the perpetrator says, "There's nothing in this town for me, nothing in this town. I just want to go to prison." Oof. That is some despair.
Yeah.
So Armis tries to comfort the suspect and suggested that they go outside and just talk it out. And then the situation ended with a hug. I guess the suspect was crying, and then officers arrived and had to arrest, the guy for attempted robbery. But the perpetrator was completely unarmed. So, just somebody who stepped in at the right time, right moment, and I guess raises the question: do you believe in fate? Like what? What a coincidence!
I hope that the entire group of people in the bank were just like, you know what, it's cool. Like
It's cool.
It's cool. The person's having a tough day. None of us were ever in danger.
Are we pressing charges, guys? Like, we don't need to do this, right?
Right.
Like what? Like I don't know if I've ever been so desperate that I was like, maybe I should start committing crimes, but I don't know. I haven't been. Maybe I haven't been in that position. So,
see, I always sort of wondered that because like if you are really really down on your luck in that kind of way, it would seem that like going to prison and then like having a guaranteed place to live, having a guaranteed like meal every day, might feel like an improvement. Like it might take some pressure off of your life to have those sort of things. I mean, not fun in any stretch of the imagination, but I feel like being down on your luck in that way isn't super fun to begin with. So why not? I guess and I think a bank robbery is the worst way to do it.
It's up there. Yeah.
I also like throw a rock through a window and just wait there, and eventually, you know, like, and eventually, like,
what kind of prison do you think you're going to for throwing a rock through a window?
I don't know. Well, okay. Well, I don't want to go to prison for a long time. So, like, in this scenario, I'm throwing the rock through the window, and I'll probably get like 4 or 5 days in jail. And after 4 or 5 days, I'll go like,
I don't even think you would get that much.
Yeah.
Like throwing a rock through a window?
yeah,
No.
because you're
It's
breaking
like a
property.
misdemeanor,
Yeah,
and
that's
you
like
just
you're
like,
gonna pay a fine. I'm
Yeah, you'd have
pretty
to
sure
pay
you
for
pay a
the
fine.
Okay, so what?
damages.
Yeah, so what? Okay, so what crime? What's a 4 or 5 day in prison crime? If you guys
I
are
don't even think
so
it's 4 or 5
prison
days. I
smart,
don't even think it's 4 to 5 days. I think if you, based on like things that I read, if you were to get like really, really intoxicated and like fall down on the street in public, I think they like throw you in overnight or something, right?
Yeah.
Joy is on my side. Joy says you're not going to jail for a rock in a window. Agreed, unless you hurt someone. Right.
Yeah.
If
You
you
don't
throw
know
that
me.
rock and it goes through a window and it like rocks somebody's eye out, I mean, that's a problem.
Ew, rock somebody's out.
Yeah, rock someone's eye out. Yeah. You might, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so there's like misdemeanors, and it depends also, like whoever the victim is, they would have to press charges. So like you could assault someone, but if they don't press charges, then it wouldn't go to court or whatever like deal that has to be worked out. So yeah, it has to be like a felony.
We're just trying to help you, Dustin. We're just trying to help.
I did not realize how difficult it was to do a week in prison. I didn't realize how much math was involved in this whole thing.
I feel like minimum like prison sentences are like a month. Like it's at least like 30 days. Like I can't imagine someone just like a judge being like, okay, just like 5 days for you.
Yeah, 5 days for you.
You were bad.
Just calm
but
down.
not
5
that
days.
Bad. I'm just gonna like ruin your week.
Well, no, because I'm assuming that like, okay, they're really giving me like 3 weeks, but I was really good during the time that I was there, so I got out after 5 days on good behavior.
Time.
I think I could totally have big guys because I'm a model prisoner.
We're getting an insight into Dustin's faith in his goodness. He's planning on committing a petty crime. So I mean, it really begs the question, like, how good of a person is he really?
He wants to commit a petty crime, only get a couple of days in jail, and then be so well behaved that very quickly they're like, this guy.
It's his faith in how manipulative he can be.
No, but the
there it is.
But the throw a rock through the window thing is the most victimless crime because like you've broken the window, but now this person the person obviously has insurance, so now that they can get a better window than they did before, so they're happy. Yeah. I've gotten my week in prison, and I needed the food or the warmth or whatever kind of thing that I needed prison for. I'm just saying I'm a good person, and that's why I don't
criminal charges
somebody. That's what I'm
criminal charges for breaking a window would fall under local criminal mischief laws.
Mischief.
So, there you go. Local mischief laws. And that's assuming you don't hit anybody.
Right. Do they say what the usual sentencing for that is?
There is no sentencing for it. It's a mischief law. You're going to get a fine.
Yeah.
If it says if you hit somebody inside, you would be charged on battery charges because that would then be assault. So that's kind of where you're looking at.
So there's nothing keeping us from throwing rocks through windows now. We've all just been not throwing rocks through windows because we just don't want to. Yeah.
We were told not to. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I don't want to break glass and have to pay for it. So I'm cheap.
Sounds expensive.
Yeah. Glass is expensive.
But we could totally do it, guys. I'm just saying we could totally do it. There's nothing.
Again, another insight into Dustin that we weren't formerly aware of. This performance of being a good law-abiding citizen. I just saw this comment from Joy Masters, Dustin Mischief
Diodato.
Yeah, I guess. Because that's how everybody knows me, is so mischievous. That's really the way a lot of people would define me.
Just wreaking minor havoc.
Yeah.
Just small havoc.
Very tiny amount. Is there anything else in the story that we need to cover?
No, I don't think so. I just I was like, I have a confession that I was like just spinning in my head trying to think of a pun for him being unarmed, but wasn't he armed or something like that when he got a hug? I don't know. I couldn't like, think of a good delivery. I know I'm just embarrassed, but
I like where your brain was going.
Thank you.
I
feel like Heather would of all my friends would appreciate.
I greatly appreciate it. Yes. Mm-hmm.
This is also where we miss Michelle Drostick in the chat, because Michelle is wonderful at these puns that otherwise drive me insane.
Oh my God, so many good puns.
Cool. All right, that brings us to story number 3, which is my story. Who hates Optimus Prime and Bumblebee? Apparently, folks in Georgetown hate Optimus Prime and Bumblebee. This story brought me on a roller coaster. I'm not going to lie. There's stuff about it that I like. There's stuff about it that I hate. So apparently, a dude in Georgetown was trying to figure out the best way to decorate the outside of his house. He lives in a housing development, and he thought, you know what? Transformers. I want to build Transformers. So this guy went out and spent $25,000 each on giant statues of Optimus Prime and Bumblebee, and I will share those with you now because it gives you the sense of...
Wow!
Right. $25,000 each to put these in front of his building, and the rest of the neighborhood is very mad because they feel like Transformers are destroying the aesthetic of their otherwise sort of, like old school kind of town, and they want them removed.
What aesthetic? I'm looking at this picture right now. What aesthetic?
Yeah,
right.
It looks pretty blank, semi-colonial.
Yeah.
There's nothing about this that looks fancy that I'm like, oh yeah, it's really ruining that architecture.
Mm-hmm. The neighbors do not like it. So let me get my research up.
The neighbors are wrong.
Here's where my roller coastering went back and forth. On one hand, I was just like, yeah, I want to fight for this guy, even though he dropped $50K on robots outside of his building. Then I was just like, okay, the guy who did it is a guy by the name of Newton Howard. And then I read Dr. Newton Howard, a billionaire. And I was like, okay, I'm less on his side now that I'm finding out that he's a billionaire. Then the sentence continues with brain scientist. And I was like, how do you become a billionaire brain scientist? I guess I'm on board with this guy again. And I was like, I'm not sure. How do you become a billionaire brain scientist? I guess I'm on board with this guy again. I think somebody turned the volume on. So, anyways, so the folks in Georgetown really wanted to get rid of it. So the people who came to his defense were none other than Peter Cullen, who is the voice of Optimus Prime, and Dan Giselbaron, I think who's the voice of Bumblebee, which is kind of a little weird because Bumblebee is mostly the voice of other people. They went to the DC Public Safety Committee and argued that they should very much be allowed to keep it, which had to have been an awesome meeting to have the voice of Optimus Prime and Bumblebee show up and be like, hey, keep those statues there. So during the committee meeting, the people who were complaining about them showed pictures of it and said, the reason I want to get rid of them is because people are crowding around the Transformers, which is probably fair, which means that they're throwing trash. But the line that stuck out to me was the motorcycle gangs that go through to look at these that are blocking the street. And I was like, are you really telling me that your issue is that motorcycle gangs are showing up to look at Optimus Prime and Bumblebee? That does not feel like a traditionally motorcycle gang related thing. But they are...
I mean, maybe they're secret Transformers, and they're just not telling everyone.
But my favorite part of the story was the fact that this dude hired a guy by the name of Paul Strauss, who was an attorney representing him to talk at the committee meeting, and his statement was, they do not endanger the public. He said, if anything, Transformers have a long and glorious record of protecting the citizens of Earth against the Decepticons.
That was true.
Yes. That was his argument as to why they should be allowed to be kept.
It's not wrong.
He's not. I'm just saying.
Are all those neighbors Decepticons, maybe?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
They must be.
Theory.
I mean, who's against that? Those are fucking crazy. They're
They're pretty
wonderful.
cool.
Fun. Yeah. Those
They're
are
pretty
super
cool.
fun.
Like the closest argument I could understand is if they are causing people to like not be able to get into their building because people are blocking it, taking photos.
Yeah.
That's
if it's
about
traffic and
that's the level of anger where I'm like, all right, that's justified. But otherwise, who cares? They're cute. They're cool.
Yeah.
They're pretty
Those
badass.
Are fun. Those are very fun.
Yeah, I do want to. I do want to understand how a person becomes a billionaire brain scientist, but whatever.
Brain studies.
I feel like that is like her. What's it called? Money that he inherited instead of
That's old. That's old money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's some.
That's old money. Yeah.
But good on him for spending 50 grand of it on Transformers.
Wait, I'm reading about him now. He's the former founder and director of the MIT Mind Machine Project. Professor in Oxford. Wow, he's done a lot. He is known for his theory of intention awareness, which provides a possible model.
Intention awareness?
Yeah, which provides a possible model for explaining volition in human intelligence.
I didn't think that paid that well.
I didn't either. Oh, and I'm delighted to see that his Wikipedia also includes a section called Transformer Sculptures.
Nice.
Oh,
that's funny.
All right. Anything else on this, or do we want to move on to our What the Facts for today?
Let's do What's the Facts.
I think we're ready.
All right, let's do it. Let me bring up all the different graphic. Where are you? Where are you? There we go. Okay, What the Facts. For folks who have not seen this segment before, I will ask 3 trivia questions, and folks will try and guess the answers. Hopefully they're interesting and funny and silly, and you'll learn a little bit of something. So I'm a little worried about this first one because you two are both very classy ladies, and you probably know a lot about wine. So you may already know the answer to this question. Joy, I feel like you definitely
we just had the Armory Awards, so I'm going to say yes.
Yeah. So the question is, and this is one of those, one of these are, whatever kind of things. Which of the following is not a real measure for wine? Is it...
I think I know one of the ones you can try to trick us with.
Is it a hogshead? Is it a butt? Or is it a mouth? Sarah, I'm going to come to you first.
Oh, boy.
Which of these is not a way to measure wine?
Huh. I feel like it's a mouth, but that's just going to be my guess. I'm fully just guessing here.
Really just guessing mouth. Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Heather?
I also think it's mouth because a butt is definitely a measurement. I mean, a butt is not necessarily a measurement for wine specifically, but I know it's a liquid. It's a form of liquid measurement for like alcohols. Hogshead, I think I've heard. I'm pretty sure I've heard about hogshead things.
Yeah, those feel vaguely familiar in some capacity.
Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's a mouth.
Okay. Well, I guess I did not get anybody today because you all are right. A mouth is fake. A hogshead is 63 gallons. A butt is 2 hogsheads.
2 hogsheads. There you go.
And a buttload is an official measurement term.
Where it
a
comes
buttload
from.
is 2 barrels of wine. So 60-gallon barrels. So now you know. Now you know
amazing.
When somebody says a buttload, what they actually mean.
Yeah,
there is
2
a
barrels.
real, actual, empirical measurement.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Associated with it. Yeah.
Which brings us to question number 2. IMDb is one of the oldest active internet websites. But when it was first originated, it was not what IMDb is right now. So my question to you is, and I'm coming to you first, Heather, what was the original IMDb?
Oh my God.
Was it a list of actors the owner thought he could beat up? Was it a list of actresses that the owner thought had beautiful eyes? Or was it a list of what the owner thought were the worst movies of all time? One of these is true. Which one is it, Heather?
Oh my God. I'm so angry because I remember when this started to become a website and I can't remember what the correct answer is, but I feel like it might be B.
Okay. Why?
And I think
it just popped into your head.
I feel like that is vaguely recalling, like, just shitty uses of the internet when people were like, I got computers, I'm gonna rate people's eyes. Also could play into the whole idea of IMDb. That also might be part of why I want to choose it.
Okay.
It could actually be C, because it's like the internet movie.
Yeah,
database.
I mean, that's
Terrible
my
movie.
guess. I feel like C just seems to make the most sense. It seems the most reasonable, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was B. A, I'm a little skeptical about.
Yeah, I don't think it's A.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it A?
Do you guys want the answer? We got a C from Joy.
We do. We have a C from Joy in the chat.
Yeah.
And Topping also says C.
C. It's not all of the above. I will tell you, it can't be all of the above just by virtue of the fact that they are. It can only have started with one thing. So we got a couple of C's. We got a few C's. We got a B. We got no A's. The actual answer is B. It was a list of actresses that the owner thought had beautiful eyes. Which I mean, I guess it feels like a weird metric. It feels like a weird kind of thing.
It's like the second I read that choice, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I remember when this was a thing, and this, and it was like, because that was like such a. Y'all remember when the internet like was first exploding, and people were like, "What if I just made a list of all
just like whatever?"
things?
Yeah. Early internet was an absolute
wild. It was wild
land.
Yeah.
So Heather, do you think
today's kids have no idea?
Do you think you went to IMDb when it was just a list of people with beautiful eyes?
I don't think I ever went to it, but I definitely I feel like I had heard about it somewhere. People were probably talking about it or something.
Okay.
Definitely. I also I love technology, so like it's really possible that I saw this as like a link on a wasn't Google back then or something, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah,
why would we do this?
What was the website like before Reddit, but it was like about like voting up stuff from the internet that was interesting? Oh fuck, what was it called? Dig or like?
Dig. Yeah.
Was it Dig?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Topping saying Facebook about rating hotties and then just became the social scene. I think it was right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
For college kids.
That's right. Yeah, it was like another like hot or not kind of.
Yeah, because I remember when somebody I knew who's younger than me got Facebook, and I thought it was just that, and I was like, why would you have a Facebook? What? Because she was like, she was a college age kid, and I was like, why do you have a Facebook? Why would you want to get involved with that? And she's like, it's just a social network. What are you talking about? Because I thought it was the hotties thing.
Yeah.
Which it was kind of
right.
All right, which brings us to our third question. Which of the following is not a real corporate mascot? Is it A, Doritos Chippy, a mental health awareness stand-up comedian?
Jesus Christ. No.
B, Brazil's Senor Testiculo, however you pronounce that, a pair of testicles with teeth for cancer awareness. Or C, Colgate's Roddy, a tooth monster who tells the horrors of tooth decay. Sarah, I'm going to come to you first. Which of these did I make up, and which of these are real?
Well, I feel like you struggled on Senor Testiculo.
Okay.
But maybe that is like subterfuge. You're just like, I'm struggling with this word that I didn't make up.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Which isn't a real corporate mascot? I feel like maybe it's Chippy. Instinctively, like I don't know how long Doritos has been around, but in my like memory, they have never ever had a mascot. So that's just my guess. Purely my guess.
Okay. Topping is saying A. Topping's agreeing with you. Chippy.
Joy first said B. Now Joy says C.
Joy saying B is real.
Andy, B is real. Got it.
Yeah.
Andy Fitch is saying Roddy.
Mm-hmm.
Is not real.
Yeah. What is your?
I also think Roddy is not real.
You think Roddy is not real?
Well,
Okay.
I just moved on Roddy because Colgate's been around for so long, so I'm like.
I just think that they would not come up with the name Roddy. Like they wouldn't call it Roddy. They would call it something like Plaque Man, or I don't know.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
It's better than Roddy.
Yeah.
And if Roddy turns out to be real, give me a call, Colgate. Chippy, here's the thing about Chippy. It's horrifying that it would be a mental health awareness, not because we shouldn't be taking care of mental health. We should be. Mm-hmm. That we would be calling it Chippy, though, just feels like uncomfortable. But I think it's real. That feels like a misguided, like a company would do that and be like, look, guys, we care. Here's Chippy. Mm-hmm. He's going to show you about mental health. And you're like, this really isn't going to help. So I think that's real. And B there's no way B's not real. Okay. That's got to be real. I do want to know why it's got teeth, though. Okay.
Well, I mean, if it's real, you'll find out because I have pictures of the ones that are real. So.
Yes.
Hit us with it.
All right. You ready?
Yes.
The one that I made up, you guys got right. It is Roddy. Roddy is made up.
I didn't get it right. My guess was Chippy.
Oh, yours was Chippy. Okay. So now it is time.
Dustin, bring him on.
Now it is time to meet our folks. Here is Chippy, the very sad.
Oh my God! It's wow! Wow! Yeah. I nailed that corporate mindset.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't pull a clip, but if you get a chance, go on YouTube and look for clips of Chippy because he is also a very depressing stand-up comedian.
Oh no!
It's like
it's
super bummer.
That is who. Oh my God, can you imagine you sit in a meeting and somebody's like, guys, we've got it. We need to support our staff and our employees. So here's Chippy, the mental health awareness chip. And they show you this. And I look at this and I go, no, absolutely not. No to this company.
He's so sad. He is so sad.
It's so everything about this is wrong.
Right. I mean, half of the clip is him bombing doing stand-up and talking about getting mental health awareness. I don't understand who the target is for.
Joy, how many people quit after that was released? Yeah. I hope everyone.
People quit who got fired.
Yeah. It depends how high up or whose friend came up with this idea. Yeah.
But YouTube it when we're done with the show. Which brings us to Senor.
Why
however,
does it have teeth? Bring it on. That's 10 times worse than I thought it was going to be.
Right?
What am I looking at? Why is there a child? I don't like it, Dustin.
I agree. He's got this permanent weird face with teeth. He's got
and a giant toupee.
Yeah, a giant like pubic hair toupee.
Can we get this off the screen?
I mean, I could just
really awful.
I mean, I could also just show you the other angle, where we get a better sense of his arm, where he's playing with a baby.
Why is it always talking to children and babies?
I don't know.
What is happening? They don't need to know about the awareness of testicular cancer. They're children. They're babies.
Yeah, I love the fact that at this angle he's also got like male pattern baldness. Like he's got the wig, but it's like he's losing.
Yeah, this thing is wildly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's also clearly a repurposed Mr. Potato Head costume that somebody was tasked with repurposing that.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever, I like to claim that I don't hate anything or anyone, but I think
you can hate this.
I hate this.
You're not a bad person if you hate this. It's okay.
But shout out to anyone who is struggling with testicular cancer or has been lost to testicular cancer. But I feel like Senor Testiculo is a slap in the face, or I guess a slap in the balls here.
Yep.
It's horrifying. I don't know. I guess it's supposed to bring up how scary and horrible it is. I don't know.
I hate it so much. It's really terrible.
So you guys hate him more than Chippy?
I mean, Chippy is also in really bad taste. So
yeah.
That's a tough call.
Yeah.
It's a tough call because God, this thing's horrifying. But Chippy's just like really bad, misguided taste. Yeah. No, so is this giant.
Chippy is cringy But Senor Testiculo is like revolting, like horrible. Like I
just Googled him, and somebody has a story called Senor Testiculo. He's a nut job for cancer awareness. How dare you? How dare you?
I hate it.
Oh my God.
So you don't want me to bring him back up again?
No.
Please, God, no. Dear God, no.
The organization that created him describes him as a friendly snowman in the shape of a testicle. Get the fuck out of here. That is is not at all what that is. A friendly snowman.
Genuinely, like I feel, yeah.
How do they explain the hair?
Yeah. What snowman has hair? Frosty the Snowman doesn't look like that.
Can't.
That's gonna haunt all of our dreams. So that's
yes,
good to know.
It is. I will message both of you tomorrow when I wake up and I've not slept because that has been in my dreams.
Yeah, nightmare fuel. Thanks for the nightmare fuel.
Thanks for the nightmare. Hey, you know what? That's how you're going to go to jail for that nightmare fuel.
For that shit. Yeah, congratulations. I'm gonna press charges. I don't know. An assault to my eyes and my brain.
I like Andy's comment of
testicular. Yeah, I also like that.
Yeah, that he's just watching you where you sleep.
Yep, he's just sitting there. Yeah.
Sorry, everybody, but you needed to know. Here's the thing: I do research for this show, and I discover things that are in my head now, and now they need to be in your head. And
no, it's okay. Yeah, that's fine. It's fine.
As I've described many times on this show before, there's a thing that I have to live with that you guys don't. And what that is there's a problem that happens a lot of times when a person completely loses their sight, where their brain wants to see things because it's used to seeing things. And then what'll happen is it'll just start showing you a slideshow of stuff that you've seen before because it really wants you to be like seeing something. Which means that at some point, if I continue down the road that I'm on, I'm just going to start seeing a slideshow. And now, Senor Testit, however you say his name, is part of that fucking slideshow. Like, at some point, he may come up, and that'll just be a thing that is, like, haunting my brain all the time. So if I have to live with that, so do you guys. Do we. Yeah. So, sorry that it is all... It's part of your Rolodex of things that that you've seen, but here we are. Which brings us to our Would You Rathers. But before we get into our Would You Rathers, I forgot earlier to mention to like and subscribe. It helps us. It helps people a ton to know that you enjoy the content, and it helps you know when we have new episodes coming out. So please take a moment to like and subscribe. And there's a little like bell thing down there too that you can hit, and that gives you notifications when everything's happening. So please take a moment to do that. It would make us so very happy. And now let's get into Would You Rather. Heather, I believe you're up first.
Yes, mine is, who would you rather have narrate your life? Would you rather Morgan Freeman or Samuel L. Jackson? Both men.
Yeah,
it's very specific.
And
Scarlett Johansson was not on my list.
It's there somewhere. I may have messed up somewhere.
Nope. I only had Morgan Freeman and Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay, well.
All right, fine. We'll throw Scarlett Johansson in there. Yeah. I'm not picking her anyway, so there you go.
Okay.
Sarah.
I feel like it would make the most. Okay, so what I would want is Morgan Freeman. Just like what a soothing and sonorous voice. But if I'm honest, I don't think my life deserves that. I'm not that regal. I'm not that, there isn't much happening where, I have to have Morgan Freeman narrating my life. But, it makes more sense probably for Samuel L. Jackson to provide some kind of running commentary. It's like, bitch, this bitch is playing Tears of the Kingdom again for another 10 hours. What is wrong with her? So, yeah, that probably makes most sense. That's what I wish it was Morgan Freeman, though. Yeah.
So you've downgraded yourself and went with Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah, See, I went the other way. Like, I went with Morgan Freeman just because I feel like my life isn't cool enough to have Samuel L. Jackson do it. Like, that's the thing. I feel like Samuel L. Jackson would be like giving me shit all the time, whereas I feel like Morgan Freeman would be supportive. I also like Scarlett Johansson is potentially an option for it. I'm going to go with Morgan Freeman just because I find his voice very soothing. But yeah, I think Samuel L. Jackson would mostly be saying like mean shit about me. So I don't want that to happen.
You don't want that.
I think Samuel L. Jackson would just make your life sound colorful.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
but it's not.
Every boring thing that you would, but that's what's fun about it. Every boring thing where you're like, this isn't interesting. And he would be like, this motherfucker is trying to figure out how to get into jail by throwing a fucking rock through a window. That's so interesting. See, I love that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It seems more interesting. Like, exactly what all of you said, basically. Like, I don't think my life contains enough for the beautiful, soothing, dulcet tones of Morgan Freeman's voice. And there's just there's nothing dignified about anything that I'm doing. So, yeah.
Sarah, Sarah, I just started laughing so much when you were saying that, because you literally, like, I don't really have to answer the question now because I can just be like, well, exactly what Sarah said. It's 100% exactly what you said. Like, yeah, don't we all want the dulcet tones of Morgan Freeman? But like, the reality is my personality is much more like the person that would be like, I've had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucker. Like, that's a sentence I would say.
Yeah.
So 100% Samuel L. Jackson should narrate. No question. Hot take, I don't really like Scarlett Johansson's speaking voice. It kind of bugs me. So she would never be an option.
Fry, yeah.
Yes, it's a vocal. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a crispier vocal fry.
That crispy vocal fry. Yep.
Yeah.
I can't.
I was trying to include a lady that like had
no, I appreciate that
voice.
you did, and I think that she does have a voice that a lot of people do consider like sultry and appealing. But Sarah nailed exactly why.
Yeah.
It's the vocal fry. Yes.
Yeah.
Vocal fry. What is a vocal fry? Okay. She's not as bad as like, because like the joke is like the Kardashians always like talk like this.
That's a perfect example
this is like vocal fry where like you're speaking like below your natural vocal range, and so there's this like like where it's like not naturally coming out without the I don't know what that I mean
it's exactly that you hear a lot of people when they talk up. So when you hear a lot of people who are just like, I don't know, maybe, I don't maybe.
Like the stereotype about how like people like Californians talk or whatever.
Yeah.
I admit it, I cannot stand that like everything's a question way of speaking.
You don't like that? Well, actually, I was just actually asking you a question.
It drives me fucking crazy. All right, so you guys are both going with Samuel L. Jackson. I'm going with Morgan
Absolutely.
Freeman. Okay. Yeah. We got Joy going with Morgan Freeman. Upspeak. Yes. Upspeak.
Upspeak. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, which brings us to question number 2, which Sarah, your turn.
Yes. So, would you rather have the complete loyalty of the current president or the most popular influencer? President versus the most popular influencer. Whose complete loyalty would you rather have? Justin, do you want to go first?
I feel like it's a giant indictment of this country, but I'm gonna go with influencer because I feel like they I feel like people think of influencers as being more authentic, whereas I think of politicians as being more manipulative. So if I wanted to have the person like help me do something, I think an influencer might have a bigger impact because it would seem like, oh, well, this person's only asking me to do it because, whatever. So I feel like the most popular influencer would probably be the way to go, even though like the president totally should be the right answer. But
once again, returning to the theory that Dustin is just really manipulative and he wants as much to culminate as much power as possible.
Well, if the question is loyalty, if it's loyalty, it means I need them to do something for me.
I'm just saying. Heather, what about you?
This is such a tricky question. I mean, so I guess my first part of the question is like, is it all presidents or just the current president?
It says just the current president.
Just the current president.
Yeah.
Because like that's a thing. Like, I'd be fine having the loyalty of the current president, but I'd want to be real careful with other presidents depending on who they wind up being.
Yeah.
And would not want to be involved with other.
But wouldn't it be better if that, like, if it was, you know, like the previous guy, like if that person was
the person we're all not naming, but yes.
Yeah. If that person was very loyal to you, maybe you could.
I don't ever want to be connected. I don't. Okay. You can take that loyalty and throw that loyalty in the trash.
Yeah, Voldemort is like incapable.
Yeah. I'm now on a list here, and I'm on a list in New Zealand, and I'm on a list in Australia.
Yep.
Horrible.
Do you know what's going to help me from that list? The popular influencer.
I feel like it would just like be Taylor Swift essentially. I mean, she's not primarily an influencer, but the level of influence, I feel like if I had Taylor Swift's complete loyalty, that could present more influence. I don't know. See, here's the thing.
Yeah, because if you
born and raised in Delaware, Joe Biden was the senator there for like 3 decades. I sang the national anthem at a picnic that he was at attendance in, and you know, I literally met him. So
this feels like a lot of braggy backstory that you got going on right now.
Already there, huh?
I'm on board.
I said it feels like a lot of braggy backstory you got going on there.
Can I drop some names here? Yeah. Excuse me. Someone get a broom. I'm just dropping all kinds of names.
Anyway, so where were you going with that then before I interrupted?
I don't know. It was mostly a bit. If I'm really honest, the complete loyalty, would probably be the most popular influencer. But like that's like a double-sided coin because it's like but everyone's like a flawed human being or whatever. And in terms of like complete loyalty, having the complete loyalty of the president, there's a lot of secrets that he has access to, and I want to know them. So I think it might be the current president. I just want to know secrets.
You want to know if there really were aliens and all that?
Yeah, I think there might be, and I just want to know, like, for sure. So.
All right, so you're going president. Okay.
Yeah.
I went influencer. Heather, you went influencer?
I think I'm going influencer. I think so, because I think the influencer could get you, like, it sounds really terrible to be like, get you stuff, because that's not really what I'm like. I'm not looking for stuff, but I feel like the influencer could open doors for you and like let's say, I would really like to like be in a show or something. I feel like the influencer would be like hyping you up and be like, yeah, check this out. She's so great. Oh my, which I guess is getting you stuff at the end of the day.
Right.
So I think I'd go with that. I think so. I mean, the president probably could keep you safe but then I'm like, from what? What am I concerned about? Like, I'm not throwing rocks through windows, so
you're not making enemies like I am.
Yeah, no.
Okay, I got it.
She has enemies in New Zealand and the U.S. So
That's true, though. That's true. That's true. I am on a list in New Zealand. So. Yeah.
All right, which brings us to our final question. Now,
I hate this question.
Yeah.
This is a really offensive question.
Yeah, a lot of times when we do the show, I'll get a call from my dad if I do questions like this, where he's like, just don't do that because you're going to get in trouble. Just don't do it. Just bail on it.
Yep. Your dad's right.
Yeah, he is. But every once in a while, you just got to do it. So, although Heather disagrees, which brings us to our third question.
I vehemently disagree.
Yes.
Vehemently disagree. Your dad is very correct about this.
Yes. So, our third question that is definitely going to get me in trouble.
Yep.
You have a pet, and you need to get rid of that pet for some reason. There's nothing you can do about it. You have no choice. Would you rather send it to a happy home and get $500 for that pet, or send it to a billionaire and get $20 million for that pet, but you know that the billionaire is going to eat said pet?
And your question in the thing said eat alive.
Yes. Yeah.
So I would like to point out the extra
The alive part
aspect
of it.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But you get $20 million for that happening. I'm going to go to you first, Sarah, because Heather's going to murder me. So
Yeah. Oh, very much. Yeah.
I mean, immediately it's happy home for 500. It's like there is like this ineffable attachment that I feel for my cat. Like I don't like $20 million. That's a lot of money, but just like knowing that my cat's going to suffer, like I would pay $20 million for my cat to never suffer. So yeah, I say happy home for 500. Yeah, there's just no way I could live with myself. Like I would win if I went with that decision, $20 million for Oliver to be eaten alive by a billionaire. Like I think I just end up killing myself. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Heather,
Clear-cut answer is
yeah.
the $500, even though I hate both of these things because I don't want to give up my pets, period.
Yeah.
Right. But this is a scenario where you just magically have
no amount of money would be okay with
Yeah.
that second one. That is awful. Absolutely awful.
Okay. I don't have a pet, so I don't have the experience that you guys have. I've never had a pet.
That's why you picked this question.
That's why I picked this question.
Very clearly why you picked this question.
Right. I've never had a pet that like I mean I've had animals live in the home. But like I've never had like I had a cat that was taken from me very early on. And we had dogs that were very, very sick, but I've never had like a healthy pet that lived in my house.
God.
So,
oh my God.
So for me, the $20 million seems like the logical choice. As a person who's never had a pet, which I know is going to be viewed as very evil, but it seems like the logical choice. But I mean, I guess I have to say happy home because I have to live with Joy, and Joy will stab me in the eye if I choose the other answer. So I'm going to go with that. But I've never had a pet, so it's like not. I'm going off of a different metric than you guys are, because you guys actively have one right now.
Yeah.
So, and that was our last question. That is definitely
what a question to end on.
I think we have to change the order, because sometimes when there are questions that are more controversial like that, I take them so you guys don't have to. But
well,
then
I think
it means
I appreciate that.
But then it means that that's the last question, and it means that it's always like weird at the end. So maybe in those situations, I'll change the order.
You notice the cats usually come around and are like, "Hey, what's up?
Right.
Can I hang out on your podcast?" No, they're not.
No, not this time.
There's a cat right behind here, and I tried to look at that cat, and that cat is like this.
Yeah.
Cat knows what's happening.
Which brings us, guys, to the end of our show. Sarha Kim, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Where can people find out more about what you got going on?
You can find me Instagram, Sarah_HK_Kim on basically all forms of social media. And yeah, you can find out more about the improv shows I do on there. And we'll see, more things coming, who knows? But I perform with the Last Neighbors with the Armory at the Tank in New York City.
Awesome. And Heather, what do you got coming up?
I don't have anything coming up this week. I just had some shows last week, and but hopefully I'm going to have some new shows coming up again soon.
Cool.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't have anything coming up right now either. We have a sketch coming up in July, but that's a while. We'll remind you about that again.
That's why I also was like, that's not yet.
Yeah. But you can follow me at DDADDATO on Instagram, and you can follow us at Super Important Stuff on Instagram and find out about guests we have coming up and all that fun stuff, and random trivia sometimes when we don't have shows. So yeah, which brings us basically to the end of our show, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Sarah, for being part of it. And we'll see you guys all next week. Bye.